Let's create communication that matters. Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that affects every single one of us. Whether you're writing a report, building a dashboard, or putting together a presentation for leadership. The question is simple. How do we communicate with data in a way that actually drives decisions? The answer is a framework called IBCS, the International Business Communication Standards. It gives us 7 practical rules, a formula for creating communication that is clear, honest, and effective. Let's get into it. Let's know about success. IBCS is practical proposals for the design of business communication. Business communication meets the IBCS standards if it complies with the rules of the 7 areas that form the acronym SUCCESS. The 7 areas are S. Say, convey clear messages. U. Unify, apply consistent notation. C. Condense, increase information density. C. Check, ensure integrity. E. Express, choose proper visuals. S. Simplify, avoid clutter. S. Structure, organize logically. We'll go through each one. By the end, you'll have a practical checklist you can apply to your very next report. Before we go rule by rule, it helps to understand how the 7 areas group together. There are essentially 3 pillars. The first is conceptual rules. This is about logic and storytelling. Say and structure focus on what you say and how you organize your argument. The second is perceptual rules. This covers visual clarity. Express, simplify, condense, and check ensure your visuals are honest, clean, and easy to read. And the third is semantic notation. This is about standardization. Unify establishes a common visual language so that anyone reading your report immediately understands what they're looking at. Think of it this way. You need the right story, told clearly, in a language everyone shares. Rule 1. Say, convey a message. Here's a hard truth. Data without narrative is meaningless. Numbers on a page don't make decisions. People do. And people need to understand what the data means, not just what the data is. Your report must tell a story. Every page, every chart, every table should be anchored to a clear message. If someone reads your report and walks away thinking, interesting numbers, you've failed. If they walk away thinking, we need to act on this, you've succeeded. Let me walk you through how to do that. First is know your objectives. Say starts before you write a single word. It starts with knowing your objectives. Ask yourself 2 questions. Who is my audience and what is my goal? Am I informing, explaining, or driving action? This is audience-centric design. A report for a CFO is different from one for operations teams. The data might be the same, but the framing, the level of detail, and the call to action will differ completely. Always align the depth and format of your communication to the goal level of your audience. Introduce the message. Outline the situation, explain the problem, and pose a question. Once you know your audience, you need to draw them in. IBCS recommends a structured introduction arc. First, outline the ground, map the situation, give your reader the ground they need to understand why this topic matters right now. Then, introduce the complication. Explain the problem or disruption. This is what creates engagement. It answers the question, why should I care? And finally, ask a question that your report is going to answer. This directs the reader's focus and sets expectations. This 3-part introduction, situation, complication, question, is a proven technique from structured communication. It's the foundation of a persuasive opening. Deliver the message. Directly answer the strategic question. Now, here's the most important single rule in all of IBCS. Say your message first. Don't build up to it. Don't save the punchline for the end. Lead with the conclusion, then provide the evidence. The goal of good business communication is this. You want your reader to finish your report knowing not just what happened, but what to do about it. Put your key message at the top of every page. Every chart title should be a message, not a topic label. Support your message. Support the irresistible logical path. Once you've stated your message, you need to back it up. Use precise words. Vague language undermines credibility. If sales are down, say by how much, in which region, and compared to what. Highlight your message visually. An highlighted element in a chart is a persuasive argument made at a glance. Your eye should be drawn directly to what matters. Think of supporting evidence as your case for a jury. Every piece should serve the verdict. Link your comments to the elements they explain. A disciplined comment system is the hallmark of professional communication. And always name your sources. It increases credibility and allows readers to verify. Summarize. End with conviction, not gratitude. The last step in say is the close. Don't end with "thank you for your attention." End by repeating your message and explaining the consequences of inaction or action. A strong close amplifies your message. It's not a summary of what you said. It's a final argument for why it matters. Rule 2. Structure. Organize logically. A clear message delivered in a chaotic structure will still confuse people. Logical structure is the skeleton of your communication. It determines how convincingly your argument holds together. IBCS gives us 5 specific principles for building sound structures. Let's look at each one. Principle 1. Use consistent elements. It means keeping everything in your report uniform and easy to follow. Consistent wording, use the same terms for the same ideas. Consistent items, compare things using the same criteria. Consistent visualizations, use the same chart styles for similar data. Consistent statements, present findings in a similar tone and format. This helps make your report clearer, more professional, and easier to understand. Principle 2. Build non-overlapping elements. The parts of your structure, chapters, sections, paragraphs, should not overlap. Structure reports and presentations in such a way that the parts, chapters, sections, and paragraphs do not overlap. Business measures on one hierarchical level should be disjoint or mutually exclusive. The elements of a structure dimension should be disjoint or mutually exclusive. Principle 3. Build collectively exhaustive elements. If an important argument is missing, your answer will not be convincing. Your structure should account for the full picture. Elements should add up to 100% of the relevant universe. Principle 4. Build hierarchical structures. Use deductive reasoning. Structure your logic so it clearly answers why, starting from the main message and supporting it with reasons. Use inductive reasoning. Organize related points into logical groups to help the reader understand the hierarchy of ideas. Principle 5. Visualize structure. Structure shouldn't just exist in your thinking, it should be visible on the page. Visualize structure in reports. Highlight the logical flow so readers can easily follow the argument. Visualize structure in tables. Design tables so the structure is clear across both rows and columns. Visualize structure in notes. Organize notes clearly so their structure is easy to recognize and understand. When structure is visible, readers can navigate your report independently. They don't need you in the room to guide them.
Rule 3. Unify. Apply semantic notation. The idea here is to keep everything consistent so the audience can easily follow. First, terminology. We should use the same language throughout the report to avoid confusion. Next, descriptions. Always apply uniform units and scales so comparisons are clear. Then, dimensions. Maintain consistent analytical approaches when evaluating different items. For analyses, use the same visual emphasis when presenting similar concepts. And finally, indicators. Apply consistent visual cues so comparable information is easy to recognize. Overall, consistency in these areas makes the report clearer, more professional, and easier to understand. Unify terms and numbers. Unified terminology is not a stylistic preference. It is a precision and trust issue. Unify your terms and abbreviations, compile them, explain them, and use them consistently. Unified terminology is not a stylistic preference. It is a precision and trust issue. When return on investment appears as ROI in one report, RETN on INV in another, and return on INV in a third, a reader cannot immediately be certain they are reading the same metric. That uncertainty, even if resolved, slows comprehension and erodes confidence in the data. Unify numbers, units, and dates. The number format should be consistent across the entire communication. The table is a before-after standardization reference. The left column shows the variety of formats that can appear in an organization's reports when no standard is enforced. The right column shows the standardized form for each. Date standardization is arguably the highest stakes category because ambiguity can lead to genuine errors. Unify descriptions. Next, unify how you describe things. Messages should always appear at the top of a page or chart, not buried in a footnote. Comments explain data elements and objects. They should be positioned consistently and formatted the same way throughout. Footnotes should be handled carefully. Include them only when necessary and position them predictably. The goal is that any reader on any page of your report knows exactly where to find what. Unify titles and subtitles. Titles and subtitles have specific roles in IBCS. Page titles go in the upper left corner of a page, directly below the message. They identify the entire page. Subtitles identify segments or individual objects within a page, a specific chart or table section. The discipline here is simple. Titles are for pages, subtitles are for objects. Applying this consistently means readers always know what level of the hierarchy they're looking at. Unify legends and labels. A standardized approach to legends and labels directly improves how quickly people read your charts. IBCS recommends placing labels directly on chart elements wherever possible, rather than relying on separate legends. Direct labeling is faster to read and reduces the chance of misinterpretation. When legends are necessary, their position should be consistent across all charts in the report. Unify dimensions. IBCS also standardizes how we view data, things like business measures, scenarios, time periods, and finally, we can break data down further by dimensions such as regions, organizational units, products, customers, or channels. First, in Unify measures, we can look at key metrics like sales, profit, and margin to understand performance or business situation. Second, in Unify scenarios, we compare data, for example, actual versus previous year, or plan versus budget versus forecast, to see progress and gaps. Third, we consider time, using standard notations to analyze trends across different periods or specific points in time. So, overall, the message here is that looking at data from multiple perspectives helps us gain deeper and more meaningful insights. Unify analyses. IBCS also standardizes how we perform and present analyses, called Unify analyses, a structured approach to understanding business situations through data. Scenario analysis compares different versions of the same data to understand performance gaps. The 4 key scenarios are actual, what happened, plan or budget, what we expected, forecast, latest estimate, and previous year, last year's performance. When arranging data, follow simple rules. For time periods, go left to right, Q1 to Q2 to Q3. For the same period, use creation order, plan to forecast to actual. To keep visuals clear, use short labels like AC and PY instead of full names. The real insight comes from variance, the difference between scenarios. For example, actual minus plan equals variance. Use consistent colors. Green equals positive, red equals negative, blue equals neutral. Always show a plus sign for positive variance. Consistent color rules help users quickly understand any report or dashboard. Time series analysis shows how performance changes over time, unlike scenario analysis, which compares gaps. The first concept is year to date, from the start of the year to today. Example, underscore June 2021 equals January to June 2021. Year to date uses three methods: accumulation, average, and last value. The second concept is year to go, from now to year end. Example, June 2021 underscore. Next is moving analysis, always the last 12 months. Example, tilde June 2021 equals last 12 months ending June 2021. Key measures: moving total, moving average, and last value. Finally, temporal indexing compares trends over time. We set a base period equals 100% or 1 and measure all changes relative to it. On charts, an arrow marks the base point, with 100% shown before it for reference. Structure analysis explores performance across categories like products, regions, or customers to identify strengths and weaknesses. It uses key techniques such as averaging for benchmarking, ranking to highlight top and bottom performers, and indexing to compare values relative to a base. Normalizing shows each element as a share of the total, while selecting focuses on key items like top or bottom performers. Then, comparing places scenarios side by side to track changes. In practice, these methods are combined. For example, ranking regions by revenue, showing their percentage share, and comparing performance against last year. Adjustment analysis removes external factors to reveal true business performance. The process is simple: actual to adjustment to adjusted actual, AC star, enabling fair comparison. Key adjustments include currency, removes exchange rate effects; inflation shows real growth; seasonality smooths predictable patterns. Adjusted values are marked with an asterisk. This analysis supports scenario and time series analysis, making comparisons more accurate and meaningful. Unify indicators. IBCS standardizes three types. Highlighting indicators draw attention to specific elements. They should be used consistently and sparingly. Scaling indicators signal when a chart uses a non-standard scale, critical for visual integrity. And outlier indicators, small triangles pointing in the direction of growth when data falls outside the visible range. These small elements, used consistently, prevent misreading and build trust.